Hello and welcome to episode 3 of our podcast. I'm Dan Walton.
I'm Tom Lewis.
I'm Matt Allen.
And this is Let Them Hear It. So here we are again. Thank you so much to those of you that have been listening to the podcast up to this point. Episode 3, boys, how are we feeling?
Good.
Good,
Yeah.
pretty good, yeah.
Third time's the charm.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting a little bit more relaxed with it now.
Yeah, for me, yeah.
We're still feeling our way. You know, we're trying to make little improvements here and there. But it's working. I'm enjoying it. I'm having a lot of fun.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
So we've got to talk about how we're doing. We're not going to dwell on it too much, but this has been a bit of a strange week.
Strange is an understatement.
Yeah, but how are you guys managing?
Yeah, I'm all right. It just is what it is. I can't really.
Yeah.
You can't really control it, can you? And I'll get onto that with my little thing later.
Yeah, I mean, I guess from a selfish standpoint, you know, nothing really changes for myself. I'm still working from home. I'm still working for unnamed for legal reasons pizza company, and you know,
Pizza Planet.
Pizza Planet, life just goes on. We're recording this actually on the first day of lockdown part 2. The return of the home invasion and panic buying, and it's also bonfire night. So there's still some going off in my area. If you do hear that, that's what that is.
Oh yeah, I've got some as well.
Yeah, so I know I am based in Nuneaton. It's either the fireworks or the.
It's just think of it as ambient background noise.
I haven't heard any
absolutely.
fireworks at all where I'm from.
You know,
Oh well, who's the golden boy? Eh?
I completely forgot it was the 5th. Well, I knew it was the 5th of November, but I completely forgot it was fireworks night.
Don't worry, everyone's
So did
completely
everyone else by the
forgotten
sound of it, yeah.
I mean, I forget me name.
Everyone's
sometimes.
completely forgotten what day it ever is this year, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was the longest March ever, and now suddenly March is finished and we're in November.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, we're coping, we're doing fine, and you know, we hope that our podcast helps you in this this weird time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something
for
to
sure.
fill your time with if you're stuck at home. I hope you're all doing well as well. Stay safe.
You can also listen to it over and over again. If you're bored, if you fancy a trial of insanity, just keep listening to it over and over again. And if you're listening to this on the 50th time, welcome back, you hard bastard.
Now, was it Einstein that said the definition of insanity is repeating the same task several times and expecting different results?
I think so, but what different results would you get from, what benefit could you have from listening to this 50 times?
That's what I mean. If you're listening to this for the 50th time and trying to get something new from it, I mean, good luck to you and thank you, but...
Oh, no, definitely. I thought when you opened with that, I thought then you were going to say, was it not Einstein who once said, "Welcome back, you hard bastard"?
Oh, maybe he might have said that at one point.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he definitely had
I
that
mean,
in his vocabulary.
he was an old man when he died. He lived a good life. He probably said, you know, at some point to someone somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would if I.
I mean,
was
I can't cite a source on that. I don't have any like first-hand evidence of him saying that, but for all we know, no one else was in the room where it happened.
Oh, good reference.
That's a reference.
Very good. It is. It's a good reference. Anywho,
Onwards and upwards.
Yeah. So if you caught the last episode, and if you didn't, I recommend you go back and listen. We spent ages talking about dogs, because Matt and I in particular are just mad on dogs. In fact, I met a lovely dog just this week. I was walking from work to the bus stop, and I had a plastic water bottle in my hand. I apologise for that. But I had a plastic water bottle in my hand, and this dog was like so curious about this and thought it obviously must have been for them. And they came over and started sniffing it. And I do that thing always whenever I'm talking to a dog. I say, "I'm really sorry, I haven't got anything for you."
Yeah.
I did that thing. So anyway, we talked so much about dogs that in the end we decided that for this week's Question Stories Advice segment, we'd get you to tell us your dog stories. And we've got some. So the first one comes from Joanne, and it reads, "My daughter went to Lancaster to visit her dad and came back with a puppy in her handbag. And she said she never had a clue till she walked in the door." What a lovely surprise.
I mean, that's the stuff of dreams, isn't it, really? Just coming...
I mean, I'm not sure I agree with the puppy in a handbag, but...
I mean, I guess it's not a permanent-based location. I'm sure it was open,
No.
etc. And, if you're going to transport a puppy you would do it in the right facility, have the... if it's a smaller animal with the box with the holes.
Yeah, actually, well, yeah, I suppose... I suppose
poke
people-
the holes afterwards and just make sure you do things in the right order. Really, for the safety.
Don't stab the dog.
Yeah. That's good advice in general.
Yeah. Yeah, don't stab the dog. You can have that as a band name, whoever's listening if you want that.
Note to self.
Absolutely. So another one we had was from Sarah. It says one of ours has a liking for alcohol. Can relate. To the point where we have to watch it if our drinks are on the coffee table. Our friend knocked over a glass of red wine one night and managed to get it all over the table and onto the cover on the sofa, which the dogs were lying on. We thought we'd cleared everything up until we heard a slurping sound. Turned round to find the dog doing her best to lick it off the blanket.
That's great.
I mean, you've got a dog doing you a favour there. Yes, it's developing
What if
alcoholism.
they've had places for like dogs with addictions? Is that even a thing? Like Dogs Anonymous or something?
I'm sure Rolf Harris had a program.
An addiction isn't just for Christmas.
Wait, hang on. Are we allowed to talk about Rolf Harris still?
Yeah.
I think
Is he
we
off the
are.
table?
It's a lot- well, we need to make it clear that we're not an advocate.
Oh, absolutely.
No, definitely
But
not.
I think we can talk about him. It's
But he
just
still
because he
can't
worked
tell
with
what it
animals
is yet.
doesn't
No.
doesn't mean that he's ruined animals.
No,
Uh,
that we know.
But
of.
that is...
not that I've
that
heard
is the
of
thing
anyway.
with- that is the thing with dogs, is that they will just eat anything you leave lying about. As far as they're concerned, it belongs to them.
Oh yeah, of course. If you're not looking, then it's theirs.
Yeah.
But I've known dogs that are like that. But I think it's red wine. You've got to try and clear up straight away anyway. So the dogs must have been quick, surely. But dogs are sneaky like that.
Yeah.
I bet he was feeling rough the next day.
Oh,
That was terrible.
bro.
Sorry, guys.
So this one is from my Uncle Stuart. There was a time when Guppet, I'm assuming that was a dog of his, ate a whole packet of hacks while we were out. She knew she'd done something naughty, but her breath had never smelled so good.
Interesting. So I'm guessing Hacks is some kind of mint.
Yeah.
Okay, never heard of them.
We're showing off our cultural ignorance here a bit.
I mean,
I can only assume the same.
yeah. I mean, I guess unless it's regional or they're just an old style of mint, I'm just gonna guess and go with that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Or it could be just an own brand of Tide Pods. I don't know.
No, that didn't happen till the late 2000s.
No.
That was a
children,
Gen
that was-
Z thing.
Yeah, you absolute bunch of weirdos. But keep us laughing. Keep doing weird stuff so we don't have to. But so, I can't see how a dog could actually want to eat a pack of mints, though. That's what's confusing. Some things like, you try and give a dog broccoli or lettuce, and it'll literally turn its nose up. So I can't see how mint would be something that a dog just thinks, right, I'm having that.
I don't know. Like I said, they will pretty much eat anything.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the dog.
Because every dog has its day.
All
Yeah.
the puns.
And I guess that was Guppet's day.
Yeah.
I'd like to know more about the where the name Guppet came from.
Yeah, I feel like I should know, but
I feel like there's definitely more of a story than what.
Sounds like a 70s Muppet.
Yeah.
actually, the Muppets were the 70s Muppets.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So, because I can't imagine you'd look at a dog and you think, right, that dog, his name is clearly Guppet.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I'd like to hear like some people's thought process on how they name their animals. That'd be
Maybe
interesting.
that was a noise that she made.
Maybe.
potentially. Yeah. What? I can't. I was contemplating trying to do that impression and then as a dog, but I can't seem to. I just know it would go horribly wrong, and I can't seem to figure out how it would work.
Yeah.
Going
Well,
from
we can all imagine it in our heads.
Yeah, why not?
Guppet?
Uh-oh.
Huh? No.
There we go.
Okay.
That sounds more like a parrot.
Well, maybe he had a parrot
Beautiful
too.
plumage.
Maybe he had a parrot too that made that noise. Named the dog.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe it's. You know.
Yeah, they gave up trying to name it, so they said, right, Polly, over to you.
Good thing it wasn't that swearing parrot. Imagine trying to call your dog in. Okay, so the next one we have is from Pat, who says, my dog story is discussing with my mother-in-law why a new fence about a foot high had been put round the garden flower borders. She said, he's getting forgetful, it's to remind him not to wee on the flowers. She meant the dog. I thought she meant Paul's dad. Much hilarity when we realised we were talking at crossed purposes. I love that.
Yeah, it is fun, isn't it? Because that comes down to, I guess, what we were saying last week about dogs always being treated as like members of the family. But you do
Yeah.
kind of talk about them like people.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Yeah, and you always, like, what they're doing, you humanise it. Like, every time my cat, Ziggy, will stretch, it's like, oh, big stretch. It's like, oh, you're hungry. It's like, you humanise a lot of, most of their actions, I'd say, actually. Oh, what you been doing out there? Probably just cat things, to be honest, but,
Yeah. But it's the same. Whenever you talk, you'll have a full. I don't know if you do this. I'm sure you do.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
have a full-blown conversation with a dog
all the time.
where it doesn't have a clue. I don't know what I'm saying to it. I could be saying anything.
Absolutely.
We should have a dog as a guest in our podcast in the future.
That'd be great.
It would. If your dog wants to feature on our podcast, get in touch.
Okay, so this last one comes from Joanna, and it's about Mac. Mac was a Cairn Terrier, and whilst on holiday when Joanna was very little, they visited a pub with a big beer garden. And she says, there was myself, mother, and older brother, along with some friends of Mum. We were walking into the pub garden when Mac, now off the lead, suddenly raced off. Following him with our eyes, we had a sudden oh no moment before it really kicked off. Ooh, I like this. Now, Mac, being a terrier, and all the fierceness and inferiority complex they have, did not like bigger dogs. Some were okay if they approached right, but he would go for them, mostly. We watched in a frozen state as he lunged at the dog in front of him. It was a Great Dane. Wow, okay. He saw Mac coming, grabbed him by the scruff of the neck and flung him away. Mac sailed through the air, landing back on his feet and lunges again. The larger dog is taken utterly by surprise as the small dog suddenly clenched his jaws right around his testicles.
Fucking hell.
Okay. The large dog is now squealing, standing, and can't reach Mac to remove him. All of this happening in about 2 seconds. Cue mother wading in and having to manually pry his jaw open. At this point, the large garden with its many customers was roaring with laughter so hard that some people were struggling for air. My mother, now embarrassed, apologising profusely to the owner of said Great Dane. Apparently, it was a thoroughbred he was hoping to stud.
Oh,
And she ends with
gosh.
never a dull day with that dog.
I feel like there's an inside joke you can get out of that as well. You've got the phrase, cat got your tongue. No, dog's got my bollocks. That's quite a story. Thanks, Joanna, for that story. That was quite intense. I always see those kind of stories in my head, and that one didn't disappoint at all. Especially when the scene changed for me from field. I know it said pub garden, but I was reminded that suddenly they were in a garden, and just the whole kind of scene of the story changed. It suddenly wasn't just two people with their two dogs. It became a lot more intense and
it took me by surprise anyway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very very nicely written, Joanna. Thank you. Very vivid.
Yeah.
Well, can't wait for the book.
Yeah. And the film adaptation.
Is there a sequel?
Can Tom Hanks play the small dog?
And Matthew McConaughey, the big one.
Oh, brilliant.
All right, so moving on, we are going to look ahead now to the next question, which I will say, to my shame, I thought of this a few days ago, and I actually couldn't think of an answer myself. But I think Tom says he's got an answer for this, and we would really love to hear what you have to say. Now, my question is, it's quite a simple question, but there's a sort of broad variety of answers you could give. And it's basically, what is the best piece of advice that you have ever received? Now, this could be something philosophical, spiritual, even something practical. We'd love to hear your answers. And Tom, I believe you have an answer for this already.
I do, and it's quite simple. My dad says to me, control the controllables. So obviously it's got what's going on around the world. I mean, obviously there's not a lot we can control, and obviously most people, kind of teaches me, take a step back and just take one step at a time. Take every day as it comes. Sometimes it's good to look far ahead, but obviously we can't, because obviously we don't know what's going on with what's going to happen with this virus, whether it will continue to the end of the year next year. So, and I think that piece of advice kind of follows me everywhere. Some things are out of our control, and the things we do have control in, we will get them right if we think like that. If that makes sense.
Solid
you kind
advice.
of, you kind of get what I mean. If you, it's like going for a job interview, or or going for having an exam or whatever. If you constantly worry about things that probably won't happen, you control what you can control. Make sure you're prepared. If you go into an interview, make sure you look nice. That kind of thing. It's kind of saying, don't look too deep, but don't look too shallow, if that makes sense. I know that sounds a bit odd, but
No, that makes sense.
yeah.
I mean, I think
That's nice.
I think it's it is all explained within the advice itself. It's short,
Yeah.
it's sweet, it's concise. And it is a simple but important piece of advice. I think I'm sure I've been given loads over the years, but when anyone ever asks me my favourite or the best thing that I've ever had or done, it's like, where do I begin? And I just draw a blank. So I'm in the same boat as Dan. I can't really think of any advice, but I guess one comes to mind. It's just keep trying, just keep working on what you're working on, and you just something to remember is that you're not doing badly in what you're doing. You could always be worse off. and just always try your best. I guess that's really like a really bad put together piece of advice, but that's just like I guess a summary of many pieces of advice.
But I think that's what.
Yeah, that-
Sorry, Dan.
No, that's fine. You carry on.
I think that's what a lot of people need to hear there. I think a lot of people, I think it's just, it's so much pressure on people to always be the best at something. You know, if you're going to get something done, do it at, your pace, if that makes sense,
Definitely. Yeah.
If it's safe to do it like that, it's...
Yeah, I think that. I think sometimes for me, I think I have, and I think probably both of you have had this as well. You have this kind of self-perceived pressure,
Yeah.
where there is actually nobody putting any pressure on you. It's you doing it to yourself.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, I get that a lot.
I think as well, something that comes to mind that's quite important. Again, probably not the best piece of advice. Can't think of it, but just basically that there's no. I did have it. Please forgive me. It's success isn't measured by any means. Success isn't measured with fame or fortune or anything like that. To me, everyone has different success, but success is happiness, man. If you're happy, you've made it. I think
I think
happiness is everything.
Kind of just expanding on that, I think when you hear the word success, you kind of instantly have your mind of money, fame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be around you. But if you think about it, my parents are a success. They brought me up right.
Yeah.
They taught me good and bad. Being a parent is successful. You decide to go for a walk. That's a success. That's a little, you're using your time constructively,
I mean, even like we talked extensively in the last episode about mental health, but like sometimes even getting out of bed in the morning is considered it a success.
Sure, absolutely. And things aren't time sensitive. Like you don't need to feel time pressure to achieve things. When you look, there is a list online somewhere, but there's so many celebrities that like didn't start doing things until much later in life. I think Alan Rickman was actually one. As a very, in that sense, successful actor, because he was a brilliant actor, in my opinion, but he didn't start till much later in life. And some of these people, before they started doing all these things that made them, to whoever's perception, successful, they were, prior to that, they were struggling. They were paycheck to paycheck, this kind of thing. So don't put pressure on yourself in a time sensitive manner just because someone else has bought a house at 20 and someone else bought a house at 40. It doesn't matter. That's their life. You need to focus on yours. But without pressure, focus isn't necessarily pressure.
Yeah. You're both familiar with Paul McKenna, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There's another in joke there that
Between
we
us
won't
two,
explain
yeah,
now,
no.
but yeah.
There's one of the books that I'm reading by him. It's called Instant Influence and Charisma. But anyhow, at the beginning of the book, it kind of, for people that think, like, if you have a negative day, so, like, draw, like, on a bit of paper or imagine, sort of draw out, sort of, say, 9 screens or 9 sections. At the very bottom, say, sort of the second one in, write a negative thing that happened. Then all around it, write all the positive things. And then when you look back at that negative thing, you're thinking, oh, look at all this I've achieved. It's not as bad as it seems.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I heard something the other day that we're wired basically to think negatively, and once you sort of acknowledge that, it's easier to think more positively. And I think it was something like, for every one negative thing that happens, obviously depending on the scale of it, but it on average takes about 5 positive things to balance that out in the human brain to make you sort of level or happy again, to bring you out of that negativity. And it's crazy. Just one negative thing has to happen, but 5 positive things has to happen. So, like you say, Tom, that's a really good piece of advice from the books, to note it down and actually put things into
perspective.
Yeah.
You know, we you know, it's sometimes, you know, I think, oh no, I'm really bad at this, or no, I messed that up. But you know, again, what my dad says: control the controllables.
Yeah.
You know, it's just about perspective on things. I think, I can't stress this enough to people that are listening, and I hope you are listening, not just us. I think if a lot of people, I think it kind of, everyone thinks like that, and it's kind of a knock-on effect. And I think a lot of people will, you know, it's like, we were talking about the mental health last week, it's like, you don't have to follow a trend either. If that makes sense. I'm trying to get the point that it's, as you're saying about Alan Rickman, you know, I mean, there's child actors that are famous or coming to fame when, you know, they're 3 or 4, and then Alan, probably one of the best British actors, just God rest his soul, came to fame at 50. There's other actors and musicians and artists and all sorts, you know, I kind of think they're more successful because they've had more time to practice it, and they've failed in sort of small ways. They know how to, you know, propel themselves up there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think what we're trying to say here is there's no roadmap to success.
No, definitely. Yeah. For example, I'm reading Louis Theroux's book at the moment called "Got to Get Through This," and I'd recommend it. I'm not very far in, but just from reading the first few chapters, you can tell that he didn't mean to fall into this kind of documentary presenter lifestyle. It's just kind of the things that happened. He started writing articles, and then he got into TV and doing all this other stuff, and it's really fascinating because no one kind of means, I think, to end up, or some people do, but a lot of the time your plan won't go to plan, and that's okay. You will just follow your own road and, you know, just go down whichever path, and it's finding the happiness within that, I guess, that kind of makes it. So yeah,
so that's what we have to say on the subject anyway. We look forward to hearing what you have to say on this.
Absolutely. It can be anything. It can be advice relating to anything.
Even if you sense a picture, if it gets your mood up, it makes you feel that you can achieve something.
Yeah.
Like I've noticed people that, you know, wearing a T-shirt or having a wallpaper on their phone that says "Never give up," just gives them that little bit of motivation. You think, yeah, I can do it.
As long as it's, you know, not something that says "live, laugh, love," then it's fine. If you have anything that says that, please write in, because we will talk to you and we will do our best to help. Because clearly you need it. So onto the.
You're being mean now.
I think I'm being absolutely fair, to be honest. But if you have been affected by any of the comments in this week's episode, please
Ignore us and move on.
Yeah, just probably not the podcast for you.
So today's topic, we are talking about customer service and work stories. Now, most people who are just starting out working or are quite young probably have a lot of these because they're kind of jobs that people go for. But us three still do work in these kind of roles, and buckle up because we have some good stories for you. Before we go into this section, please be reminded that these stories are our own opinions and do not reflect the companies we work for whatsoever.
And with that,
yes,
we're not going to name any of the companies that we work for.
Definitely
because
not.
of the fact they are 100% made up stories that absolutely never happened. So I'm telling you them from my memory, which is obviously clearly warped and shouldn't be trusted. So I've worked, God knows how many jobs. I've worked so many jobs in my time in different areas just because I was never really happy, and I just think I just needed to actually just get my head down and work. But that's given me a lot of experience in a short time, starting off as a paper boy, that's not all it's made up to be. That was terrible. Then, from various warehouses, I got my forklift license. I broke a couple of things with it. I used to do donuts in the forklift at these very varied companies. And then, I worked at unnamed pizza company for a bit, which I'm now back at. This is all hypothetical, of course. And now I also work for a big energy company. There's honestly so many stories. I think over the time, but it's not customer service, but this is customer service and work stories, and sometimes the smallest thing at work can just make you laugh. I think sometimes because you're looking for that bit of laughter, you kind of need it. But I do have a nice story to end it on. So the first story that I can think of is when I was working in a warehouse, we had this huge warehouse door, and then to the side of it, we had a smaller door. So people would ring the bell with deliveries, and we'd open the smaller door first just to see if we didn't need to open the big warehouse door. For some reason, my colleague thought it'd be funny when I opened the door to hide behind the desk and start barking. Now, it may not sound that funny, but when you're trying to sign for a delivery and take it really seriously and ignore the barking, it's very difficult not to laugh. And I managed it, but then the guy said to me, have you got a dog back there? And I just had to go, yeah, the warehouse dog. And it just...
Because I imagine what would be harder to explain, having a dog back there or having a
Well,
colleague?
trying to explain that my colleague was there, just barking. Yeah, it was very, very interesting. But at that same warehouse, I learned a lot of things. That's my first full warehouse experience. That's where I got my forklift license. Where we would do donuts in the forklift. The yard would get icy, so we'd handbrake turns in the forklift, and a lot of stuff that probably obviously I don't recommend. There's been a lot. We had two stories to the shop. Upstairs was obviously staff only. We'd take all the food up there in the cardboard boxes, and obviously we had to take the cardboard boxes back down to be recycled. To make more space, we'd then take the boxes down, flatten them, and then we had an idea that surfing down the stairs would be a brilliant idea. And it was for me, a light 20-year-old. My colleague, he was a larger fellow. He thought, that's a good idea, I'm going to surf down the stairs as well. And we had one of those doors that you have to push a button for it then to open at the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah.
Not when he surfed down there.
Oh.
Straight down into the door and then kind of out, just like when a dog rolls over. That's kind of how it looked. But we did so much stuff at Unnamed Pizza Company for legal reasons. We used to throw the dips at each other from up the stairs and down the stairs. There's just so many. But in Unnamed Bank for legal reasons, when I worked there was
a lot of the places you work at seem to have a similar name.
Yeah. They're all actually non-existent, and all this is a dream for legal reasons. And the bank is probably the one for the best customer service stories. So the one that comes to mind is basically on the reason that a city centre bank had to get a bouncer for a month. So
Wow.
Okay.
in customer service, I am as lovely to the person as possible on the first interaction. If you're going to start being horrible to me, however, then you're going to get it back. And I know that's not how customer service works, but I'm a human, and you just don't get to talk to me like that. It's that simple. And I will give you as many chances as possible because, we're all having a bad day. But this guy, as you'll learn later in the story, was just a bad guy. So he comes up, I'm on the business counter, and that is only for paying in. Only for paying in for businesses. So it's kind of self-explanatory, really. He comes up, he's like, I want to slam some money on the counter, like, I want to pay this in. It's like, okay, absolutely. If you go speak to my colleague over there, they'll be able to help you on the machine. They'll be able to get it all paid in for you. Not a problem. It's like, what can I do here? I was like, well, unfortunately, as it says, this is a business counter, so unfortunately, I won't be able to pay it in here. It will just be over there for you. So then he's trying other techniques to get me to serve him. So it's like, well, I need to change my address. Okay, well, if you go speak to my colleague at the desk, he'll be able to get that done for you. And then he was almost fine with it, although his attitude was a bit off, until his girlfriend sort of questioned his manlyhood within this conversation. So she was like, he's mugging you off, he is. I was like, I'm not mugging him off, I'm just making sure he gets the help he needs. Okay. Thank you very much. I was like, oh, you're going to go around there now? Yeah? All right, so clearly not needed here. Something like that. And it was just basically, there was a lot more to the conversation. But anyway, so he goes around, changes his address and does all that stuff. And as they're coming back, he's like, you were no help. I was like, good, I'm glad I could help today. So that's when he threatened to kill me.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so he threatened to kill me as he was walking out. And my manager at the time was absolutely, she handled it like amazingly. She was like the same sort of attitude as me with customer service, like you will be as nice as possible to the customer unless they give you a reason not to be. So she was like, you do not speak to my members of staff like that. You need to get out right now and close his account. That's how serious it gets. If you say that to him, you know, you don't have a bank account anymore. Sort it out, it's your fault. So that happened. So, but because it given the wrong address or whatever, basically we learned that he'd just come out of prison, so that he didn't actually have a fixed address. So I'm not sure what happened when he changed it. So he went to a different branch that I wasn't at the time. And because he'd received a letter saying, or he hadn't received a letter, saying that we're going to close his account. So he went to go to the bank and he didn't have an account. So then he said that he's going to kill that guy at the city centre, referring to me. So then they got the phone call and we were put on a bit of an alert. I had to then, my manager came around, like, you need to take your lunch right now. Did you bring any with you? I was like, no, I need to go to a shop to get some. So she was like, do you at least have a coat? I was like, no. So I had to wear her big fluffy coat, because I guess no one else had one, with the hood up, like in Subway, like, can I have a salad, please? And just, you know, order my lunch and go straight upstairs. And in my lunch hour, he did come in and the police were called and he had to go. So then for the following month after, we had a bouncer in the bank.
Was he bouncing?
Yeah,
It was.
I would hope so.
I did promise a nice end, so a really quick story. I gave some, I'm not always an arsehole. I did, a customer called up, they were really frustrated to begin with. I talked through them, this is at a different place, I talked through everything with them, managed to resolve their query, and they came in, they came to this call centre, and by hand delivered a little box of chocolates and a card to say thank you.
That's nice.
It was really lovely because it's so easy to complain about bad customer services, but to take the time out and commend someone and actually make a gesture like that, that was really, really lovely.
Yeah.
So I appreciate I've rambled on. So any stories from you guys?
I just want to just point out there, I'm kind of similar in that respect, and the same with my colleagues. You know, I will serve you, help you, do whatever to the best of my ability, but you start, and that includes other colleagues that behave like that as well. I'm not just saying personal customers, but I will take it further and I will say it. I used to be quite shy at that kind of thing, but you can't deal with things like that, you know. And you know, I won't say where I work for legal reasons because it's not real.
Oh, you work there too?
Yeah, I work there too. Is other people from rival companies of can't name for legal reasons want the same service we would give to people at my company that I can't name for legal reasons. And when I say, well, I can't help you with that because you're with this company, and then they kind of look at me like I've just, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get
I'm
that.
like, it's like, that's, that's like going to, I don't know, as you're saying with the bank, going to NatWest and saying, oh, I'm with Nationwide, can you help me? I'm like, no, you go at Nationwide
No,
and do
yeah.
that kind of the similar thing. I'm thinking,
We had that loads.
and it just sometimes I don't want to offend people,
Sure, no,
but
absolutely.
can people be really that stupid?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm going to chime in here, right?
Go on.
Because I feel like people that have worked for long enough in any kind of like
Industry.
any kind of industry that serves people in some way eventually get a general dislike of people.
Yeah.
You know what, you sort of learn that like 90% of the population are awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a bit of an exaggeration, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, 89 maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you experience this where you work, both of you, but sometimes they want me to sort of help them with the impossible.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I'm like, I can't help you. I wish I could.
I'm really... I've got-
I genuinely like helping people.
Yeah,
But, there's
absolutely.
sometimes I physically can't do anything. And, and if
that's-
someone,
That's your fault in customer services, the way they perceive it.
yeah, it
Well,
seems,
my
it does seem that when I hear the phrase, the customer is always right, I cringe.
Bullshit.
Now, again, as I said, I will help people to the best of my ability. I will help people where I work that I can't name for legal reasons, because that's my job, but
Yeah.
because I like to help people. Now, chucking something at me and saying fix it is
Ugh.
often I get a lot, and I think, right, so you've just walked in here, you've pushed past other customers that I was serving. There's a thing called a queue. I don't know if you know about it, and they will literally barge in, chuck their useless piece of technology at me and say, fix it, like that, like fix it, like, sorry, am I a mind reader?
Oh, I hate people like that.
Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
and I say, well, excuse me, sir, or ma'am, if you'd just like to wait at the back of the queue, I'll be as quick as I can.
Yeah.
And sometimes if I'm helping another customer out, and I will say, oh, if you just give me 5 minutes, sometimes it's not that obvious,
Yeah.
because say a customer's on their phone, they're sort of making a test call or something,
Yeah.
and and another customer comes in, and I just say, oh, just give me a moment, please, I'll help you as quick as I can, and they give me the most evilest look, and I'm thinking, if that was the other way around, you'd expect to be treated like that.
Well, that's it. Like we had it all the time. Like people would come in, bar to the front of the queue, and you tell them, they'd be like, "Oh, there's always a queue here." So, well, then you should know how it works, shouldn't you?
Yeah.
Like you're the idiot here. Like, I had people click at me in the bank,
Oh,
and I told him, I lost my rag straight away in that one. To be fair, I probably could have handled that better, but I said to him, I was like, "I will help you, but never click at me again." In fairness, and he realised, he was like, I'm sorry, that was wrong. So that kind of paid off. That, sometimes people do just need to be told, but sometimes it can also go very badly.
A tactic that I actually quite like, which sort of benefits me, I guess, more than it does the customer in a way, because it sort of almost enables the customers to be awful. But if like a customer is complaining to me about something that I can't do anything about, I'll explain why I can't help them, but I'll also kind of take their side a little bit as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, relate to them.
So I'll kind
Showing
of
empathy.
go,
Yeah.
I'll kind of be like, yeah, I know it sucks.
Yeah.
But like, especially like right now in my industry, like we can't do everything that we need to do in order to help customers.
Yeah.
So it's like, listen, like I know it. I don't say it in those words, but I'm
I know
more or
what you
less
mean.
saying like, I know it sucks, but like I'm afraid that actually I can't do anything.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Like a couple of months ago, I think just after lockdown ended, round where our area is, the service went out, the 2G service. So we've got 2G, 4G, 5G, 3G, whatever. Now, a lot of the older generation use simple phones that run off 2G. Now, you know, and I'll talk about older customers in a second, but trying to explain to them what it is, you know, and it's not that they don't get it. They don't get it. It's not that. It's like it's a nationwide problem, and I say I'm really sorry. I cannot help you at this minute, you know, and I help them. I say because you can you sort of text a number and you'll get sort of updates how the service is going and stuff like that. And, you know, sometimes that isn't enough. And I think, you know, again, control the controllables. That's the slogan for.
Yeah,
that's the episode of this.
Title.
That's the
That's the
episode
title of this
title. We've
episode,
just
yeah.
decided. Yeah.
But, you know, and as I said about other older customers, you know, in my industry, there's, you know, with some older customers, there's a lot of fear about technology. You know, and I try and empathise. You know, so I'm never going to get this. Some customers will expect you to do absolutely everything for them, and they won't even try or give it a go.
Oh, God.
And that really upsets me. Well, not upsets me, it just annoys me that they're expecting. And they say, well, I pay all this money for this. I'm like, yeah, you pay all this money for this service. We're not your slaves, you know. You know, sometimes I will help them send a text or make a phone call. But all in all, we're not here all the time to help you.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, some older customers, you know, they're lovely and they will try their so hard to get, you know,
Yeah, absolutely.
to get it, you know, to learn how to use their new device. And I really respect that. And, you know, and they're saying, oh,
Yeah, that's awesome.
you know, oh, going to call me grandson later, you know, and they'll
Yeah.
come in the next day or the next week, and I'll see him. He said, "Oh, I managed to call my grandson." You know,
Oh, that's nice. When they
you know,
come
it makes
back.
my day
Yeah.
that you know you've helped them do something that's probably made them really happy. But then on the other hand, there's I really don't want to say this, but there's customers that come up to me and said, "Oh, can you just turn my Wi-Fi on?" I'm like, "Sorry." It's a little thing at the top. You just swipe down and press it. Ugh.
I want to go back to a point you said. I know
go on.
this makes me sound like a bad person, and I really don't care because we all have those days. But when someone will come up to me and it was like a monthly subscription thing, like, I'm paying a good service for this, I'm paying good money for this, and you just kind of want to. I never did, but you want to look at them and go, "Oh, £2, whoa."
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're
Yeah.
paying good money, are you? Yeah. Well, then get
It's
your
like some of
Freddo in
the
London.
cheaper. It's like some of the cheaper devices we sell are like $7.50 a month.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, I'm paying all this money." I'm saying
You're not though, are you?
you're paying for a £750 phone that you probably could have afforded to buy outright, but you wanted to be cheap.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be fair, that a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
And as we keep going on with this, I want to remind that we have the deepest respect for where we work, and in no means we're trying to bash them. And if you do find out where we work, highly unlikely. Just
I mean,
we're not
it's all hypothetical.
against our companies. Yeah,
Remember, we've
Not
told
at
you
all.
this is all fake.
yeah, it's all fake. It's all
None
a
of
dream.
this happened.
But these
So-
these companies we work for that we can't name for legal reasons, but we can't name our pretend companies for
I just
legal
wanna-
reasons either.
Really quickly chime in and say I'm very fortunate now. I mentioned last week I'm in a new role. I'm out of
Red
the
roll.
customer service loop for the time being, so
Is it a gluten-free roll?
it is a gluten-free role, and it's a customer-free
Awesome.
role as well. So I'm rather happy for the
Oh.
time being. Yeah, I've made the
Yeah.
leap. Sorry, Dan, what you were saying?
So
Your turn.
let's talk about my industry, shall we?
Please.
So for those that don't know, I've worked in housekeeping in various places now for 6 years. And that's an interesting one because that's one, when you tell people that that's what you do, they instantly have like a bunch of questions about like, what kind of things do you find in rooms when you go in there? I had a friend ask me, we're allowed to swear on this podcast, right?
Yeah.
I've done it fucking loads.
Okay, well, I had
Listener
a friend ask
discretion
me,
is
do you,
advised.
yeah. have you ever found evidence of people fucking in the rooms? I'm like, all the time.
They
like,
actually ask you that
it's
question.
not. It doesn't even faze me anymore. Like, this is a bit gross, and I'm sorry, but my job is a bit gross. You'll go into a room, and you go into the bathroom, open the bin, because obviously you've got to take the bin out and put a new bin liner in. You open the bin, and you can smell the cum.
Oh,
Oh God.
And you're like, yep, there's a condom in there. I know there is. And some of them, most of them, I will say wrap them in tissue, which is very nice. Thank you very much to the people that do that. Some of them put it in a little bag. Thank you to those people. Some of them just put it straight in. You people, the thing is with my job, the reason I quite like my job is because I'm an introvert.
Because of the bins full of cum.
Yeah.
oh dear, that's not good.
New title.
No. I will not have
Control the cum.
that. No.
So anyway,
My
as
parents
I was
don't
saying,
listen to this.
I've already told my parents all of this.
Okay.
Yeah. So I haven't told your parents though, Tom.
No,
So I'm an introvert,
I'll let them know.
and what? That I'm an introvert.
No, carry on.
Anyway, so because I'm an introvert, and my job is quite a solitary job, I get to spend a lot of time by myself, which I do like. So I'm not always dealing with customers face to face. I'm normally just dealing with the customers after they've gone. But the great thing about my job is that I get a lot of time to think. And I spend an awful lot of time in my job talking to myself. And I not in like a schizophrenic way. Like I'm talking to someone that isn't there. I mean, okay. The three things that I say to myself most often during a given day is fuck off
Yep.
to an inanimate object that I've dropped or something,
Yeah.
or when something goes wrong, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Or when I've forgotten something, oh, you fucking idiot. Those are the three things that I say most often. So it was a good thing, really, that at the minute we're having to wear masks at work.
Yeah.
Because I can only imagine what I must sound like if a customer walks past the room.
Yeah. It's so similar. I probably have two phrases. Just fuck it and fuck me. It's daily. So fuck me.
I don't know if
Oh, fuck
you've experienced this, but when I'm at work, my personality is a bit different.
Depends, really.
Do you
Mine's
experience
probably
that?
the same now.
I am a generally pretty chill person. At work, I get stroppy.
Like
I don't think-
I'm quite just an inward person anyway. And if it's weird because if I'm walking down the street and someone starts to speak to me, I'm like, please go away. But if I'm at work, I mean, I kind of have to do it. But I kind of quite animated, quite I can't get into it. Does that make
No, I get that. I used to be like that. I think now because I'm working from home and I'm not talking to customers, I'm able
Talking
to
to
be
yourself too
myself a bit more. Well, yeah, and I'm consistently on like video meetings or like just general meetings with managers and stuff. But I can still be myself because they're all being themselves, and it's nice working in an environment where everyone is acting as professionals, but also people. But I definitely can relate. I definitely used to be, especially in the bank. I was definitely not a whole like 180, but definitely a personality shift upwards of that being social.
Yeah. Whereas I'm lucky in that I don't have to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Thing is, again, it's if people, most of the time when we're working, when I'm working, and if people want to make a complaint, customers want to make a complaint, I will say, yeah, fine.
Fuck off.
Yeah. No, but I find that if someone said I want to complain to you if I'm not working or I'm out of my work mind, so to speak,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of, oh, what do you want to do that for? You know, I kind of,
Yeah, no, I get that.
you know, just.
I get it.
I mean, the typical trick is that you'll be all nicey to customers when you see them, but okay, well, I guess have this as a word of warning, I guess, to people that are rude to people in customer service industries. Even if that employee plays nice with you when they're with you, just know that as soon as they're in a staff room with other staff, they're going to be talking shit about you.
100%. And your query that's always already taking time, it's going to take longer. If you're an arsehole, it's fact.
Yeah.
I actually try and avoid that. I try not to, you know.
No.
And again, that's the.
Live for the work gossip. Oh, I had a right dickhead earlier. Did you tell me all about him? Oh, what an arsehole. Love it.
If someone if someone asks me about it, then I'll tell them. But I'm not one to gossip like that. Unless
I feel like those kind of things.
Me, I'll be all right.
Yeah. Those kind of things keep me going at work sometimes.
The thing is, it's only in a working... I'd never gossip about like staff members or anything like that. But if you're just going to be rude and an arsehole, I just feel like you have it coming. Like, people should know. And if anything, it also serves as a warning. Because if you can point it out to someone, like,
Thing is,
watch out for that customer, it's actually really
Yeah,
useful.
yeah.
We're
Like,
the people here to help you.
Prepared.
You
Yeah.
know, if we're not here, who are you going to go to?
So now, we had a positive story last week, and we're going to have a slightly negative story this week. But it's not all doom and gloom. It comes from our very own Dan.
Okay, so this is one of those things where it's personal, but not in like a deep way. More in like am I sharing too much information? Is this a little bit weird to talk about? But okay, I'm going to talk about this. Tom, I think I told you about this.
You probably have. We talk about everything, so you probably have.
Yeah. So I was going to bed one night.
Oh no.
A few weeks ago, and I needed to get up early for work, and for some reason I had this sudden whim where I decided I was going to just shave off all of my chest hair. I'm going to tell this story. So I did that, and let me tell you, when you shave off all of your chest hair, your chest gets really fucking itchy for about 3 weeks. And I regret that decision.
I've got nothing to shave. Chest hair wise.
Oh.
I just, got a couple that.
I'm sorry to bring that up then.
No, that's all right.
And did you know what?
Whatever.
I'm going to apologize to everyone at home that had to listen to that story, but it's just something that's been bugging me.
I remember you telling me.
I mean, that's.
And I can't get it out of my head now. I just imagine you shaving
I
your
don't know
chest.
why.
Yeah, why?
Neither do I, Matt. Neither do I.
Cannot relate.
And it gets all like blotchy and it's horrible.
Well, when I grow up, I'll know not to shave my chest.
We could do it as a live stream.
God.
What, like a charity thing?
Yeah. Instead of shaving all your hair off, shave all your chest hair off.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so.
Maybe not.
Yeah, we can do that for the 10-year anniversary of the podcast. I might have some by then.
Delayed reaction.
Mine is short and sweet. Mine's just that the fucking boiler's temperamental, so we're having to get a new one. Like, it's not repairable. So, like, we're having to keep the heating, like, use it only if necessary. And it's just really annoying. Like, at some point, you'd be trying to take a shower. Hot water goes all the way through. It's really annoying.
Oh,
but
I wondered what you were going to say then.
I'm just counting my chest hairs in the shower, and then suddenly it's cold.
Yeah.
I've got to 5, and that's as many as I've ever had. And then suddenly it's cold. But
you should change your energy provider, Matt.
no, No, the energy provider's fine because I did change them from one company to another, which
That
I
you
may
can't name for
may not have
legal
worked out.
reasons.
Yeah, but thankfully it's the landlord's job to pay for it, which it saves me having to pay for a new boiler. So I guess negative and positive.
My
Nice.
negativity one. Right, where do I start? Well, a long, long time ago,
In the galaxy far away.
I'll get sued for copyright sharp. Cut a long story short, and this will be mentioned in a later episode, but I had a kidney transplant and I have to take immunosuppressant medication which lowers my immune system. Now, when this coronavirus happened back in March, obviously I had to stay off work to protect myself, isolate, that kind of thing. Now, Mr. Johnson has decided to impose a second lockdown. I have to stay at home again. So, it's annoying because I really like what I do, and it gives me a sense of purpose when I go into work.
Mm.
I mean, I wouldn't say negative. I mean, I can turn it into something positive and use this time wisely, which I am. But it's just something else to, it's like, give me a break.
Another annoying thing. Yeah,
I think everyone's feeling that at the moment, aren't they?
no, for sure. Yeah.
And I think we can do our best to bring some joy into your lives.
By listening to this podcast,
Yeah.
sponsored
Okay,
by a company that we can't mention for legal reasons that doesn't exist.
Please sponsor us. So now we have Dan's music recommendation. Take it away, Dan.
So my music recommendation is going to be the album that I think, other than maybe the Hamilton soundtrack, is the album that I've listened to most this year, which is my album of the year so far. And that's Larkin Poe's Self-Made Man album. Larkin Poe are doing so many incredible things for rock music. I feel like rock music, the way I know and love it, is kind of a dying breed. It is one of those styles that has gone more pop
Yeah.
over the years. It's kind of gone the same way as a lot of folk and country has gone, where it's just got a lot more pop. But Larkin Poe are not only doing great things with rock, but are finding an audience, which is absolutely amazing. Because I remember seeing Larkin Poe at Cropredy. They were there in 2012.
Yeah.
And back then they were doing kind of bluegrass kind of stuff. And I thought back then that they were really good, but then they kicked it up several notches. Kind of ditched the mandolins for like heavy distorted guitars. And now they've got this enormous fan base to the point where, back then, if I'd have mentioned Larkin Poe, no one would have known who I was talking about. Now I say Larkin Poe, and they go, "Oh yes, I've heard them. They get played on Planet Rock. I've heard them on Kerrang." I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
you got
Recognition.
a really good rock band that people love,
One of the-
and they're
They deserve it as well.
Watched what I remember Kerrang, didn't they? Used to have a music channel.
Yeah, I used
TV
to watch
channel.
that
Yeah.
for
I did.
hours. Yeah. Or the Green Day Blink 182 that come on. Yeah.
Oh, amazing
yeah.
memories.
But so yeah, Larkin Poe's Self-Made Man album. I think it's their best album. They haven't made a bad album yet, but I think it's their best one. And so definitely check that out. And now, Mr. Tom Lewis, you have a TV or film recommendation, and I'm looking forward to hearing what this is.
Well, I'm not a massive film fan or a massive TV. I prefer listening to music, but when I do, I go all the way. I am a very big Tom Hanks fan, and you know what I'm going to say. My favourite film and my recommendation is The Green Mile. It's such a. I think Stephen King wrote the book, didn't he? He wrote the story. It was
Yeah.
adapted.
So, yeah.
But it's just so. It's a weird sort of sense of everything seems to revolve around this main character. So you've got Tom Hanks's character, then you've got Michael Clark Douglas, I think it was, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Michael Clark Duncan.
Duncan, sorry.
That's it.
The
Yeah,
late
yeah.
Michael
The
Clark
late
Duncan.
Michael Clark Duncan. They seem to, in my, it seems that what I like about it is this Tom Hanks' character seems to, it seems he's a very sort of, I wouldn't say stubborn, but very a set in way kind of person. He plods along every day, and then he meets this big, unusual man with, and it seems he's drawn to him, and I can't really explain it. It's something you would have to watch yourself.
For sure.
Yeah.
But it's a magical film. It's a long film.
Oh yeah, but it's good.
Yeah,
I watched it
well,
based
I
on
was
your
a-
recommendation, actually, Tom. That's the reason I watched it when we
Yeah,
started
I
working
remember.
from home. And
It's
I
a brilliant film.
you know, first impressions watching it is absolutely brilliant film. It is long, but it shouldn't be any shorter. It gets
It's very-
everything.
Well,
it
this
needs
is what I was going to say. If I can just quickly chime in,
Yeah, sure.
about it being long, I think there is a lot to be said about long films because not every studio wants to push long films always.
But this film isn't
because-
dragged out.
No, not at all.
No,
it feels
but
right.
because I think because a lot of audiences will be put off by a long run time. It's like Martin Scorsese's new film, The Irishman, that came out last year was 3.5 hours. And I remember saying to a lot of people, "Oh, The Irishman, it's really, really great." And they said, "Yeah, but I can't sit through a 3.5 hour film." And it's like, but for me, the longer the better in a lot of cases, because it means that
Just-
so much stuff has not has made it past the editing stage for a like good reason, and it just shows that like everyone involved, from the studio to the director, like have faith in this story
Yeah.
and want you to get the full sense of this story.
I think as long as it's
I
not
know,
dragged
I-
out.
no, it feels.
But like you say, it needs to be that long.
Oh, yeah.
it feels,
for sure.
It feels right. Sometimes you do see some films that are quite long, but you think, does this really need to be here? It's
Yeah,
Can't
but
think.
it's
Yeah. Edit that
it's
out.
it's one of the great it is one of the great Tom Hanks performances,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think, because
Yeah.
He gets into
he's
character.
such a he's a sympathetic character, but he's also a hard man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like he's in a role where like he's not to be messed with, but he's also sympathetic.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
So Green Mile.
Yeah. So, this is probably our most full podcast I think we've done to date, and we've covered lots of ground with it, and I've had a really, really fun time doing it. I just hope you've enjoyed listening to it as much as we've enjoyed making it, and I just want to thank you again for listening. It is, as Dan said earlier, only our third one. We're still sort of finding our feet, but any suggestions, any sort of feedback, please let us know. But just again, thank you so much for listening. I've been Matt Allen.
I've been Dan Walton.
And I'm Tom Lewis.